Oh my God, what's going on? Oh, what's going on? Good, good morning, everyone. I just want to check that I was in the right place today. Last week I ended up playing to myself. So good morning and welcome to Let's Talk About Creativity. So, welcome to Let's Talk About Creativity. And this is episode 3. And I have a special guest who's amazing at businesses. She has so many businesses going, I can't count them on my hand. And she's the queen of it all. But she's so more organised as well. Definitely more organised than me. So it'd be so interesting to hear what she's got to hear, what she's got to speak about, especially around creativity, how her businesses are creative, how her life's creative. So let's introduce the queen of business organisation, Dani Louise Smith.
Hi, thanks Sam, what an intro.
Thank you. Hi, Dani.
Hi.
It's lovely to see you, and thank you for joining me today on episode 3.
Oh, thanks for inviting me, I'm excited.
Okay, so I've just shared a little bit about what you do, very briefly. Would you like to kind of tell everybody what you do?
Yeah, of course. So I am the queen of business organisation, like Sam said. I am really organised, which is why it came about. But I wasn't always. So I've tried many things over the past 10 years. I first started off by creating a community for parents when I became a mum myself, and soon realised I was quite good at social media. Maybe I could start a business. So 9 years ago, I started a business and I made memory keepsakes from clothes. So that's creative in itself. Started making them for my son, started selling them, absolutely fell in love with it. But it took me a while to get the business off the ground. I just didn't know how to sell, didn't know how to market myself and my business. So I put my all into it and I realised that I needed to get organised. I need to work on my time, be productive, to enable me to make more sales with my creative business. So I worked on all of that. And after that 6 years, I turned it around in 4 months. And when I turned it around, I started helping other women in their businesses and I fell in love with that as well. And it soon took over and I signed up my first business coach and I just wanted to do a side hustle at the time. But what's actually happened is my business has taken over as a business coach and mentor, has taken over my creative business. I still do both. I love doing both, but I am the queen of business organisation now, helping with all things getting organised in business, strategy, marketing. Love all that stuff. I love learning and trying new things. So I help women in business with that so that they can create time freedom and be productive and earn more money because my actual mission is to help women to earn from the business so that they can spend more time with their creative hobbies because that's what I do.
Definitely. Um, it's lovely to hear of like the changes that you've made to from starting out in business to where you are now. And I follow you. I like connect with you. So I'm so excited for like your newest journey. So I met you. Now, when was it? Now it was about 2 years ago, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah,
I just joined the local networking group, MIBS Mums in Business, Leeds and Wakefield, and I remember kind of watching a live, and you was just saying that you was ending there, and I was like, okay, I'm just joining this. So what's happening now? Do you remember that day when you
do
just
because
kind of said?
I remember when you came in and I liked you straight away, and then you were just like, "Oh, I might come to the next meeting," and I like felt awful because we just connected, and I knew that I was leaving, and then she joined this live, didn't you, Sam? And I was like, "I'm
Yeah.
going," and I'm like, "Oh," but we did have the lovely Jan takeover, and even though I have left as leading it, I'm still very much part of it because I said I ain't going anywhere. I love the community, so I stayed. I go to the meetings. So yeah, I love it.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's such a special place to be in, isn't it? There's so much support from
Yeah,
there, and but also the encouragement to there's no judgments.
yeah.
It doesn't matter who you are, what you do. The only kind of rule around it is being a mum. Well, actually, I'm a grandma, but I am a
Yeah,
mum as
you don't
well.
have to be a mum. You're just a women, and because we understand each other, don't we? And
Yeah,
actually, if I'd not joined that community, I wouldn't be where I am today because that's how I found my first business coach. It's how I got visible. It's actually how I realised that I loved helping other women and landed this business. And it was through that I started. So I wouldn't be here without that amazing community. So I'm so thankful for it.
wonderful. So tell me a little bit about your newest business, your creative business.
So we've just launched. So although I am a business coach and mentor, I've just launched what I call the Creative Business Academy, and I'm not doing it alone. So it is that power of community and connection, and that's what we talk about. So I guess it's like a third string to my bow, and
Yeah,
basically we're on a mission to take creative women and take them from because there's this idea that you're a starving artist. So we love our hobbies and we explore creative things. We're very passionate, aren't we? But
yeah,
we don't start selling it or we don't try and set a business up because there's this belief that there's a starving artist. So we want to change that and we want to help creative women in particular to get their business on rails and start making that difference that they want, be seen, being heard, and obviously making money. But we want to just bring people together while we do that. So I'm loving it so far. We launched it in May. So
excellent.
yeah, the Creative Business Academy now exists, and yeah, it was scary to do. It's the biggest thing I've ever done, like investment wise and putting
Yeah,
time in. But it's so worth it to see creative women come together and get something from it. So I love it.
wonderful. So for all our listeners, could you just kind of explain a little bit about? So I heard you say the word starving artist, but also kind of where it comes in that creative. What is it that you're kind of helping people with?
So starving artist is like so if you think about the one that comes to mind for me is Van Gogh. Like I don't know if anybody
Yeah,
remembers when we learned about him in school. Like he didn't actually make any money. He was a starving artist. He struggled, and then actually when he died, his work sold. And how sad is that? We don't want that.
yeah,
We want people to know who you are now. So it comes from that. And what we do is so there's me and there's I call them my companions. I have Doctor Who in mind when I say that. It's like creative companions. Don't get into a TARDIS. We get into a portal and a Facebook group instead. And we come together and we have we literally as mentors we have one of us every week supporting you with your questions for your creative business. You have a portal of like trainings and you unlock more every 3 months. You have a Zoom session with us and you have masterclass every month, and there's so much. And it's the whole overall mission is to go from that place of not feeling heard and seen and visible
yeah,
and not being able to sell your art. And art, it's not just art like painting; it's any art, that any creative form, any what's the word medium that you do. So, like for
mm-hmm.
me, it was sewing my keepsakes, but there's so many different ones. So whatever it is that you do create, that you can get it out into the world, and that's our mission as a whole. But to do it together, because when you are using your creative skills and you're trying to get that out there and visible, it's so hard alone. Like me and Sam met through a community in Mums in Business, so it is hard to do, and we need to tap into these communities. So it's about doing it together and supporting each other, so that you're not on your own. And I found that invaluable in my own business is not being alone. So that's what we do, and I absolutely love it.
It sounds absolutely wonderful, and I'm sure there's listeners out there that will be really interested in joining what you're doing or finding out more information. So, add your links at the end, so people can find out more about you. So, if I kind of think about mental health, because I heard you saying about being alone and being a business owner, myself as a business owner, an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
so doing more than one thing, which I love that word, um, it can be quite isolating and quite lonely. I do work as a school counsellor as well, so I do have that, let's not say balance around business as in life, because sometimes it can be you end up working more hours than actually if you're just doing a job or
Yeah.
if you're having a business. So I am quite conscious that, yeah, you put so much into it, don't you? Because it's almost like your baby. You want it to work, you want it to be successful. And for me, as I say, I'm very much kind of with both at the moment. So, as in the isolation, there's some because of like people understanding what I'm doing and actually questioning, but shouldn't you be working? Shouldn't you be doing your job? Well, yeah, I am, but it's what gives you that passion, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I guess what I'm saying is like, it's so important to look after your mental health. So, for you, Dani, how do you look after yourself having so many businesses? You've got a family as well, and your husband,
Yeah.
he struggles with his own mental health as well, don't he? So,
Yeah, because he's got a
yeah,
disability as well. We've got our family in particular has got a lot of challenges, so it is something I do have to look after is my own mental health because
yeah,
if not, then I dread to think I'd spiral. Because we've got my husband with his disability and his own mental health challenges. My son has got behavioural problems. We're struggling with him at the moment again in school, and it feels like we're back to square one. He's got to go through an autism assessment again, and all these things are challenging. And I'm sure other parents that have been through this stuff can relate.
yeah,
So I have to kind of put myself first sometimes, which I used to feel was selfish, but actually it's not because we've got to look after ourselves to then enable us to be the mum, be the business owner, be the wife, and be where we need to be. And one massive part of that has been creativity. So I feel I laugh when I reel off my hobbies and stuff because I have so many. So obviously I sew for my business, but outside of work and outside of business, I love reading. I go to Zumba. I love dancing. I've always loved dancing. I love writing, creative writing as well. I love crochet, scrapbooking, doodling. I'm learning to paint now as well. I honestly have 2 drawers full of craft stuff because I have that much for all my hobbies. It's
have you
ridiculous.
been in my house?
It gets a bit crazy sometimes. I'm just so grateful that Dan doesn't mind. So my husband is also a Danny. I'm grateful that he doesn't mind because we have that much. Like with my business work, it's enough having all
Yeah,
my books and my machines and stuff. But then I have my creative stuff as well. It takes over, and then I have a crystal collection to throw in as well, and I do some spiritual stuff. So yeah, that's kind of one way I look after my mental health is by doing all of that on a regular basis. And sometimes I pick one creative thing up and put it down and do another one. Like at the minute, I don't do crochet because it's too hot to sit with wool on my knee,
can
making a
imagine.
blanket. And I just make for fun, and I think of someone to gift them to or donate to. And I thought I'm running out of people here, so I'm actually thinking of giving them to homeless street angels because I know come winter they'll appreciate the handmade blankets more than anyone. I know, so thinking about doing that. But at least we can do stuff like that with our creative
Yeah.
hobbies, can't we? So it does help my mindset. Sometimes even just sitting and colouring, I do that as well. I've got colouring books, all sorts. So that's one massive aspect. I do other things like journaling, now and again some meditation. Talking to people like yourself is really helpful for who understand it and get it.
Yeah, of course.
Things like that, affirmations. I do all that stuff as well, yoga, but creativity plays a massive, massive part in it for me. It really does.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Um, I totally agree. The creativity can just take you anywhere, can't it?
Oh yeah,
It's like using your creative mind, which for so long, me myself, I just shut my creative mind off because I struggled with my childhood, and then as an adult, I was a young parent, and I have got beautiful daughters and wonderful grandchildren. But when you're in that, it can be quite difficult, can't it, to kind
yeah.
of know who to turn to, know what support's there, because support was so different then to what it is now.
Oh yeah,
Um, and I think mental health is has had a huge awareness now that they recognise that people need so much support. So for you to have all this in place is amazing. But again, going back to that creativity is kind of like that you can do whatever you want,
Yeah.
because there's no judgments with creativity, is it?
No.
I heard you say that like you paint. Now art can be a real kind of shame, guilt. I'm not good enough for this. I can't do this.
That's what I can be like.
Yeah, yeah. And clients that come through to me, that, oh, I can't do this, but that's about their confidence.
Yeah.
And when you're able to kind of take yourself away from day to day life, which can be so challenging and so difficult, then you can just have your own space, can't you? I love being in nature, and I see creativity in nature, the beauty, the sounds, using your senses, because that's another thing, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
creativity, you need your senses, don't you? You
Yeah.
know, and when you're struggling, you, it's like you see everything too
Yeah.
much, and you hear everything, but then the ones that are so important, like touch, feel, smell, taste, which comes into being creative so much, they
No.
just kind of, they're not acknowledged as much, are they?
No.
Um, so it's just wonderful to hear. And I like what you say as well about seasonal, using creativity seasonal. That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Kind of like, yeah. So tell me a little bit more about that.
So for me, it's like in the winter months because we spend more time indoors, don't we? And I guess that's when a lot of people suffer with like SAD syndrome. So this is
Yeah.
where it can make a massive impact. So I find myself doing crochet projects a lot more, and you've just reminded me like when with that as well. Like I don't know. I always say I don't know where I go when I'm doing it because like I'm touching the wall and holding the what do you call it, the hook, and I'm just doing the like the weave if you call it with the crochet, and it just forms, and I just don't know, it really clears my mind, which is amazing because I know we can never turn off those thoughts and they don't completely go, but I just go into this whole other place and I love getting to that space. It's just so therapeutic. So like winter we spend more time indoors, so it's that comfort I guess, and things that I can do with that, whereas in summer this is where I'm exploring the painting stuff more because I actually go do it in the garden with the kids. One,
Yes.
for the mess, two, it gets them involved. So it's not just that it's just for me, but it's doing it with the kids as well is quite good because they get to explore there and having no rules. Because how many times do we put rules in place for ourselves, for our kids? So just
Absolutely.
creatively, we can expand the rules a little bit, can't we? And just push the boundaries a bit with being creative. So that's quite good to do with painting. So I find myself painting more in summer
Yeah.
when there's a bit of a breeze and I'm in the sunshine, and then the crochet in the winter when it's more cozy and indoors. So it just taps into that naturally. I've never realised it's like a seasonal thing, but it is, yeah. It really is. It's just whatever I feel I need and I call into at that time.
Yeah. That is wonderful to hear, and I love that. It's that you're able to have those connections are so important, and for you, there's so many connections going on there. You've got connections with your family. You've got
Mm.
connections with nature. You've got connections with your senses and what you enjoy doing as well. Crocheting. I'm not sure I could crochet. I remember my grandma showed me how to knit, and she had a huge knitting machine. So I would be quite happy to zoom across with the knitting and watch as these jumpers and things, almost like appeared. And I used to love, I don't know, you're obviously younger than me, but there was like a bobbin thing. It was red and it had four little like hooks on the top. And
Oh
that
yeah,
was the kind of crocheting really. And you would just kind of, I used to love that. But all you would get is this like tube.
yeah.
That's as much as you would get from it. It wouldn't be a scarf. Well, maybe it would for a doll.
They brought stuff
Uh,
like that back, didn't they? These like different
yeah,
loom things, and
yeah.
I don't know how you do them, but I know a few people started doing them again and making all sorts. It just amazes me, like hats and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And what I've kind of took away from what you've said is it's very much you go into this like your own self, and it
Mm,
can be your inner child that's like e- eager to come out, but it
yeah.
also can be that hypnotic state, which is very much being therapeutic. You know, taking them thoughts away, which in therapy, as a counsellor myself, it's very much about kind of finding ways, strategies. We always call it like a toolbox, especially with children and young people, that it's a toolbox that we're creating. So, what
Yeah.
are we going to put in your toolbox to help you for when I finish working with them? And that's almost what you're creating through your creativity for what helps you, what you enjoy, and
Yeah.
also being with people that you love and care for, and vice versa, and showing them that actually, like you said, there's no rules. You can, obviously, you've got rules within your household, I get that, but rules as in, like, let's make a mess, a mess. How many parents, you come across parents as well, how many parents really struggle with children making a mess?
Oh yeah, I do. I do. But sometimes we do let the boundaries down. It makes memories as well when you allow them to break free and make that mess. We have family Friday nights where we put a film on. Not that they always watch it, but we choose a film, have a few snacks, and we have a rug in the living room, so we don't want that ruined because previously we've had so many ruined by slime and litter and paint and all the stuff, as you can imagine. So we want to look after this one, so we love it. So we roll it up, and we've got like a vinyl floor, like a soft one. So we just sit and they can do whatever they want, only on a Friday in the living room because we normally don't eat in there, we normally don't drink in there and stuff like that. It's kind of like old fashions, like grandma's rule that used to have, but we do have that in place for the kitchen, the room, even it's all in the kitchen. So we let them come in and we do that on a Friday, and they love it. They absolutely love it, and I think it's one of them things. It's like doing stuff like that, whether it's creative, whether it's not, it creates memories that they'll never forget. It really does.
Absolutely. And like you said, like it's very much like a grandma rule. That's a memory, isn't it? From like
Yeah,
having them times with your grandma,
yeah,
where you would have that like one night a week where you'd be able to like all be together and have that lovely time. I think what's important there as well is kind of taking away from our lives are surrounded by technology. I mean, look how we're communicating now.
yeah,
In some ways it's brilliant because we can share more further than we ever used to do. But
mm,
also, it's about stepping away from the screen, isn't it? To be
it is.
able to kind of have that time, um, to be able to like just be yourself, switch off, and just do what you love, do what you enjoy. So I think that's kind of really important. And like, so you talked about kind of mindset. How important would you say mindset is being a multi-business like owner?
Absolutely important. And you would have asked me 2, 3 years ago, and I wouldn't have been like, what do you mean mindset? Because I didn't work on it at all. And then when I started to, it made such a difference, and it's so important. I always say, and I hate saying it because I am very strategic, but business, creative business, any business, is about 80% mindset and 20% action and strategy. But we can't do the action, we can't be who we want to be and do what we want to do unless we work on our mindset. So we need to have, like you say, a toolkit to
Yeah.
support that. And my toolkit just happens to be a two drawer, not drawer like a single drawer, but two drawer dresser things, whatever they're called, with multiple drawers full of craft stuff. So
That's wonderful. So for anybody who's listening who's not sure what mindset is and where you start with it, what would you say?
I'd say try everything, because there's a lot of advice, especially in the online world these days, like, oh, do this or do that for your mindset. And I don't think there's one rule for everybody, because we all have to explore what works for us. So I can tell you what I do, but I'd say try different things. So for me, I do all sorts, but sometimes things don't work for people. So, like for example, I do journaling, and I love journaling. I used to do it as a teenager, actually. I used to write a diary, and I love that. And it's not like the typical Dear Diary that you think it is. Sometimes it is just looking within yourself, being within yourself, answering your own questions and coaching yourself, sort of thing. And it's really works for me. But some people don't get on with that. They don't like writing, for starters. They don't like reading. Like my husband's one of them. He doesn't like reading. So it might be for you that you might want to listen to something instead, whether it's a meditation or a motivational talk or something like that can help your mindset as well. So there's things like that I do. So mindset is about, so there's two kinds of mindset. There's fixed and then there's growth. So fixed
Okay.
is where you're not willing to change with it, but
Mhm.
growth is where you are, and it expands your mind because your mind's like a muscle. So you want to, so like we'd want to lose weight, we'd work out, we'd look after our body. So we need to do that mentally as well as physically. We need to look after our minds and treat it like a muscle. So give it those workouts, and we do that with things like journaling or exercises, I guess, that make you think and make you process and allow you to break free almost and move forward. So definitely, if you believe you've got a fixed mindset, my best advice is throw everything at it and give it a go and see what works for you. I started off with journaling, affirmations, meditations, EFT. Absolutely love EFT. Which for those who don't know what that is, because sometimes people don't, it's emotional
No.
freedom tapping, where you just tap on different points. But I've tried other things as well. I've really gone out there and I've tried what's it called? Acupuncture, Reiki, and so they are really good as well, like energy techniques. One thing I want to try, which I know Sam has and I haven't, is hypnotherapy. So that's in my to dos for this year. I want to try that. So just try things and see how you feel because it definitely helps. And sometimes it might not, so you go find the thing that does work for you.
Thank you for that. Yeah, as you rightly said, I have experienced hypnotherapy earlier on this year when I needed it. And even as a counsellor, you need your own therapy. You know,
Yeah,
you'll still have them times. And if I think what's important is kind of being aware, into it, aware of
yeah,
when you get into that stage where they call it, it's called burnout, isn't it? But and burnout when I was training to be a counsellor was, oh, it's just therapists, and but actually it's not. It's anybody can. Parents can have burnout, can't they? Because
yeah,
you're running around, you're doing everything, you're not getting time for yourself, but you put your children first, and maybe your partner or your husband first, and your job first, and the thing is who's there for you? You know, that's
yeah,
always the question. Who's there for you? And you totally forget about yourself. I'm quite happy to say that sometimes, and I've got to be aware of it at times because, like we said, we're busy people nowadays, that I've got to be careful about my self care, really focusing on myself. And another thing that I want to say as well, when you're talking about mindset, one of the things that I found that is I absolutely love is stillness.
yeah,
And just so stillness can be loads of different ways. Stillness can be, like you said, meditation, sitting with the moment, it being in that present moment, into it almost that
yeah,
mindfulness, that grounding. But I found stillness for me really works by play, just having play, having fun, smiling, singing, doing Titanic on a tree. That was one of my recent things. Walking, walking barefoot in Fair Bennings. That was
um,
another thing I did. It was just so amazing. Just tuning into what you need for yourself, and that's what it's all about, isn't it, Danny? It's just
yeah.
tuning in to what feels right for you. And there's no right and there's no wrong, and it's different for everybody, isn't it? So I think it's kind of really important is tuning in to you.
Oh, absolutely. I did that the other day. I laid on just on the grass, no blanket or anything, hands on the grass, laid down, just feeling that sun, and just oh, it's so nice. Just connecting with myself and with nature. Yeah,
Absolutely. I think what kind of when we talk about creativity, I mean, children, when they're, and it can be different ages, depends on what has happened for them. But children in general, they want to have play, they want to have fun.
yeah,
They don't see what we see as adults, do they? And and it's so important for that not to be took away from them. So for you to have that time with your children, your family, on a Friday night, and making sure it's almost in the diary, you
mm,
know, Not written, but in your head
Mine actually
diary.
is.
Oh, it's actually written in. Oh, I love that. That's even more so. I
It's colour
absolutely
coded and
love that.
everything. It's green. It's green for self care. Yeah,
So
it's
that's
family.
definitely going to happen. That's really important. And coming to the diary, again, with you like having so many businesses and like, I'm guessing that everything is really kind of set out for you. And I know a big thing can be scheduling. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so actually, it's been a recent thing that I'm kind of coming into, and you'll know why, because of the people we surround ourselves with. I'm going to do this my way, the way I want, which I've not done for so long. And part of that is actually planning my diary because I want to work when I want to work in my best energy. I don't want to work evenings anymore. So I couldn't just cut ties with it because I've got commitments. So
Yeah.
I couldn't. But once it's run its course, I'm going to change things to be the way that I want to because that protects my energy, it protects my mindset, that looks after myself as well. So I've done this with my diary as well and making sure that there's time in there for like family. Like I say, it's green, color coded green for Friday night. My breaks are color coded green. My mindset time, I actually have mindset time, is color coded green, and the mindset time is like yoga, so it's for my body. It's affirmations and journaling for my mind and stuff like that. So I've got that dedicated time. But it's also making sure that there's space where there's nothing blocked in because yes, I can diarise everything, which because I like to be organised, that works for me, but we do need space. So Saturdays and Sundays, nothing's in unless I've got like next weekend I'm having a barbecue and a few people are coming round. That's in there. But unless something like that or somewhere I'm going, there's nothing in the diary and I like to have that free space. So free space is good as well. So like everybody imagines like you have every second, every minute time block, but that's not the case. There is those sections that are just free that you can be and do what you want and I love that and I want more people to feel like that as well, that they can get the work done, but then they can completely switch off. And whether that's being creative or even just watching TV, whatever that is, that you can go do it. And I love that.
I love that, hearing that. And I like that you use different colours, that you colour code it. But
Yeah,
you're even putting things in that, like, I wouldn't even think, well, I do now, but previously I wouldn't have even thought of putting in, thought of like, oh, so I'm going to have family time.
yeah,
I wouldn't have even thought about that. I've started using a diary a lot more now, and I can really relate in what you're saying that it makes so much difference. But yeah, having everything blocked in is just
yeah.
completely not,
It's
just not
because
there.
I guess because my theory is if I don't diarise it for the family, then it doesn't happen. So if you make an effort, like a conscious effort to put it in, it's more likely to happen. I think tonight, rather than have movie night, I'm actually going to put in because I've not been doing it and there's painting of mine up. So I'm like, maybe we should just sit in the garden and paint. So I think we're going to do that tonight instead once we finish work. So that'll be quite nice. And it's good because it just ends the week nice. So I've been working all week. They've been in school all week. Let's do something nice together and just yeah. So it's just be I guess.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's what we're doing. And in diarising, it's really important to know so everybody knows where they stand when it's happening. We can come together with that, and it's just a priority. And I always say when you plan your diary, plan your non-negotiables. But I think sometimes people think non-negotiables are stuff like putting the washing on and
Mm.
cleaning the bathroom and doing the school run, but it's not. It's also family time, time for you, mindset work, looking after your body or whatever. Like I do face mask, I do all sorts of face masks as well, stuff like that. It's even self care like skincare and makeup and hair when you want to do that is part of that. So I mean that's not in my diary, but. That would be excessive, wouldn't it? This is what I'm doing, washing my face. I did do that once. I did do that once. I was like, maybe I won't do that. But yeah, so like it's really important. Like non-negotiables are you. It's yourself. It's your children. It's which I know is like everybody knows anyway. We children because we do put them first. But
Yeah.
I think anyone watching this maybe put yourself first and what you want sometimes as well.
I think that's a really great tip for parents, grandparents, carers, women, even
Yeah,
men, just to kind of hear, put yourself first. Absolutely. I totally, I totally could relate with that.
And don't feel guilty about it as well. I used to feel guilty
No.
about it. I don't anymore. And it's took a lot to get to this point, but I don't. Like, if I'm feeling overwhelmed, I take myself out of the room and I go away. And I think Dan's starting to notice this as well.
Yeah.
And I'll say, I just need this time for me so that I can come back and help and deal with everybody else, because I just can't if my head feels like it's going to explode.
Yeah.
So we need to do those things and recognise how we're feeling, because we're like a boiling pot and we don't want to be boiling over. We want to be able to just stop, breathe, and then carry on with life.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you were talking about your family, you mentioned that your son, as I say, I know you, so I know your family. So if you just tell us a little bit about what the struggles you've had with it and how you've managed to fit that in with
Yeah,
businesses and life.
it is a challenge that I'm still navigating, and so is he, obviously, bless him. So he was a poorly baby, and he cried a lot, didn't sleep a lot, and he was a challenge from the beginning. And I hate calling him a challenge, but he is.
Well,
But we realised he was actually lactose intolerant, so we dealt with that. We had no medical support with it, but we dealt with that as parents ourselves, and we
yeah,
found we've had to do that a lot with his behaviour. Um, he was delayed with his speech and wasn't communicating effectively. Nursery picked up on that, referred him to speech and language, who then couldn't do an assessment because he actually had a meltdown in the room. We then hit lockdown, which put a halt to everything. Speech and language referred him to paediatricians, who referred him to the autism team. So we went through the whole process of that. And by that point, he'd started school, we'd come out of lockdown, and actually thrived in lockdown. He thrived at home, which I'm quite proud to say, because while we've been through this process, they look at you, they look at the parents, and they kind of make out like it's something at home, which is awful, absolutely awful. So we've kind of just had to take that on the shoulder and just ignore it and just carry on doing what we're doing with him.
yeah,
So he started school. We'd been through the autism process, didn't get a diagnosis, but I recently went on holiday. So we'd got, basically, long story short, and we'd got him to a point of getting into school every day, doing fine, routines, even through a house move, even through his dad having a big operation, which we expected to trigger him. It didn't, it triggered
yeah,
me instead. So it was a surprise, but I'm so proud of him that he dealt with all of that. And then I went on a holiday, and it's put him back to square one because he didn't have mummy at home for a week. So we're now navigating that again, and we're now going back through the process again. So school are putting him in this time, which is good, because we only seem to get anywhere when school's involved. So they referred us to Cluster, who we've actually been let go of now, because she's actually said we're doing a lot more than other parents do. She's amazed at how much awareness I have of things, but that's because of the personal development in business that I've done. I can bring into my family and our
yeah,
life, which is, I'm actually grateful for as well, because that strong mindset I've been able to pull in, alongside like the creativity and stuff. So that's been helpful, and we had amazing feedback off that. So that was through school as well. So we've had support, but also it is a challenge to kind of get there. But he went in all right this morning, so that was nice. He did it today. He did it. So I'm proud of him when he does, and he's going to get a reward for Friday night, family night tonight.
that's wonderful to hear. How old is he, Danny? Just for any parents or
He's 6.
anybody interested? Listen, he's 6.
Yeah.
So you've had 6 years of real difficulties with him, and
Mm.
I guess for you as a mum, it's impacted how you felt about yourself. Knowing that he
Yeah.
struggles, because that's what we do, don't we? We that like we don't see it as what's going on for them. We're like, oh, it's our fault. You
We
know,
do, yeah.
I'm not doing right.
Yeah.
I'm not being right as a mum to him.
Yeah, because after Archie was born, I struggled mentally a lot, and I believe I had postnatal depression. I actually went for counselling, and then because of Dan and his operations and his disability, he started blaming himself. Like, maybe it's because of me, because I'm not a normal dad. But what is normal?
There
So
isn't.
yeah, there isn't a normal. There's no normal family. No family has it perfect. And
No.
sometimes when we're in the midst of the chaos and he's having a meltdown and I'm distracted from work because of whatever reason, it feels like we're the only people going through this, but actually we're not. No family has a normal situation. No family has perfection. and it's hard to remember that sometimes. But yeah, it's had a massive impact. We blame ourselves, and it doesn't help when externally as well you kind of feel like you're getting the blame on you, which we have had. But actually having feedback from parenting course that because we've done it all to help our family forward. I mean, why wouldn't I as a mum? So I did a parenting course. We had amazing feedback from that, where they're actually amazed at how much we put in. In fact, we were only ones in the room that put the effort in. So it does show you how much a lack of support parents have had, that they're not even willing and motivated now to implement and change things, which is it's quite sad actually. And then we've had the feedback from the lady at Cluster who's given amazing feedback and said we're doing all that we can do. We're doing amazingly and to keep going with what we're doing. So having that is that validation that I shouldn't have had to seek, but I have got, and it's quite nice actually. So that's helped with things as well.
That's really good to hear that you've had the support, from outside agencies, not from just school, that and people are really kind of recognizing and understanding your own struggles,
Yeah.
as a family, and the support that can be put in place to help Archie manage his the way that his brain is wired, the how he reacts differently.
Mm.
So, you know, um, so do you find that like anything creative is really helpful for him?
Oh, he absolutely loves it. This is one of the things that he gets on his reports all the time. And it's how they actually get him into school. So we've got something in place. The plan he's got in place. He goes to what we call the rainbow room, and
Okay.
when they take him in there, there's like loads of sensory stuff, teddies, poppets, all sorts. But they take him in, sit him down, and let him do some colouring and drawing because he loves. Like when he first started school, he'd go painting because he loves anything creative, cutting, sticking, gluing, all of that stuff. He really, really does love it. So yeah, anything like that helps him massively. And he actually asks for 1-to-1, which means he has time with either me or his dad, and we go and do something like that. So when he asks for something like that, we give it to him because we know that's when he's needing that time on his own with one of us and for himself, and that works as well to have that 1-to-1 creative time. I say creative because he usually chooses something creative to do. My other son will choose to play a game like Snakes and Ladders or something, or Ludo. Love Ludo. Um, my daughter is dolls and babies and stuff, and dressing her up in like 10,000 outfits all the time. Actually, it's always let's go make something, which is
that
nice.
that it sounds that you kind of your children. Of course, you know your children, but it's more that you know what their interests are, so you're able to and because you kind of work creatively within your businesses, it overlaps, doesn't it? What you're doing at home, you're able to take to support. Is it women? Just women?
Yeah,
Is it? Yeah,
yeah. I
women.
don't know men. Sorry, men.
Oh no, that's entirely up to you. It's your business, and that's your niche. So you're able to support women, and some of them are probably like parents have got their own children, so you're able to help them around that side of that organisation side of
Definitely,
it.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but then also you're able to like use your creative mind, your own creative mind, to support your family. And it's so beautiful to hear that you've got this balance going on, which is missing from so many people's lives, that they don't give themselves that time for that balance. But it sounds
Mm.
like you've got this going so well. I know you said that there's times, but it's not perfect, is it? It's not perfection.
No,
It's a work in progress. That's what life is about. It's a work in progress. It never stops. Things happen, and then like you've got to deal with it. Like moving house for you was what you found really difficult, whereas your children were all for it and really excited about it.
yeah.
Um, so it's lovely to hear that you have got that. So, what kind of tips would you give to parents if they have got children that are struggling with, and it doesn't have to be like, the behaviors, it could be mental health, it could be anything, what to help them kind of, especially if they're business owners or they're working like
Mhm.
full time, really kind of, not giving themselves, what kind of tips would you give, Danny?
I think my first one would be communication, which can be a massive challenge between not just you and your child, you and your partner, as a family as a whole. Definitely communication. So I was actually feeling overwhelmed last weekend. So my husband kind of took an amazing action. He pulled all the kids into the room, and it was like we had a family meeting. But you know what? They sat and listened. They didn't go off and ignore me, and we all cleaned the house together. And
Wonderful.
I mean, I like actually in the face, but yeah. So yeah, like we did that together, and it made me feel better. It made them feel better because then they'd got done something, and then we could all go off and do our own thing. So communication, and I know it can be hard sometimes, especially if you've got a child like mine who struggles to communicate because his speech and language is still delayed a little bit, and he struggles with reading. So, well, he actually could be dyslexic as well, so that can affect him. So he does struggle with that. So for anyone that has communication challenges, I just said don't give up, just time, patience, and I know it's hard, but communication definitely. Every family needs a bit of communication. Every relationship needs communication, whether it's a friend or work colleague, partner, business partner, whatever it is, definitely communication. My second one would be preparation, because this is
Definitely.
like part of a business skill, but in family life with your children, if anyone's facing similar struggles, definitely preparation. So I'm not just the queen of organisation because of business. I always joke that I'm the queen of organisation, but my house is a mess because it's true. But I also organise certain aspects of my life. It's clean. It's not. It's untidy, but it's clean. But I do organise certain aspects of my life, like I work on budgeting and always plan ahead and think like I'm already planning for summer, like school uniform and activities we can do, so I can take the kids out, so I can afford it, and so that I'm not scraping last minute. I prepare myself, but it's not just about that. It's about day to day running of life. So how can you best prepare yourself for the challenges that you're going to face today? How can you have those conversations? So again, the communication
Yeah.
to prepare yourself for what you need to face. So definitely preparation. And then finally, definitely that self care, that mindset work, that time for you. Because we have, I had this conversation with my auntie on holiday the other week. She says that she's got different like personas. She's got her work self, her mum self, and then herself. And
Okay.
it's so true. Like I'm businesswoman, but then I'm wife, but then I'm mum, but then I'm sister. And I am a little bit of a different part of me. It's all me. And I'm a different part of me when I'm this person. But sometimes I need to be just me. And actually I am just me when I'm working because I feel like I really come out of myself. But I guess when I'm being creative, that is the just me time. So find time to be just me, just you. Just have that time to separate yourself from the madness and chaos of life, because we all have it a bit chaotic sometimes. So find a way to separate yourself from that. And if that's creative stuff, then brilliant.
That is wonderful. They are fantastic tips. Um, so I guess kind of what I'm hearing is that you are your authentic self, whoever you're with. You never mask to protect
I might
yourself.
be
Because
quiet sometimes, but
would you
but no,
say that's masking though, or would you say that's just because you might be tired or exhausted?
no. Well, I actually do go quiet when I'm tired. So to the
Yeah.
point that Dan goes, "What's up with you? What's up with you? Quiet?" Because I'm never quiet. I'm a talker, aren't I? So, yeah, I do go quiet when I'm tired. But if I'm in a situation where I maybe don't feel myself can fit in, and I know sometimes we can't,
Yeah.
then I might be a bit quieter. Because I'm so into business and personal development that sometimes if I become that in certain settings, it can seem a bit weird. When actually, I don't think that's weird anymore. I think it's just me, and that's okay. And a lot more of us are on that level now. And the world is changing, definitely. But
Absolutely.
yeah, I can be a bit quiet sometimes. I don't really hide who I am. It depends whose energy I'm in. So if I can just be myself. So yeah, it does depend. But I don't like to hide who I am anymore. I'm kind of at that place now, like I don't care. I just need to be myself. I don't know how to pretend to be anything else.
So even though I, like as I say, met you a couple of years ago, I would say that really it's probably this last since this last 6 months really that I've got to know you better,
Yeah.
and know more about you, and vice versa. And you are chatty, but not over chatty as in, never let anybody speak. You're very much chatty as in bubbly, um, and we know how organised you are. I mean, you shared that with us today, how organised you are. And I think it's just so lovely to be able to hear how you manage everything,
Mm.
So we are kind of coming to the end now. But just before we finish, I just want to ask you, what does creativity mean to you?
Oh, it's a way of life for me. I can't imagine life not having any creative element in it. So yeah, it's the way of life.
Okay, that is wonderful. Thank you so much. So, so thank you so much, Dani, for joining me today on episode 3. Let's talk about creative businesses with Dani Louise Smith. It's been wonderful to speak to you and just hear about how you keep yourself organised. I've definitely took some of my own tips from you today. I know I have. I just know that some of the things, yes. So thank you so much. So Dani is on social medias, and if you are interested in finding out more about her, the links will be added in the comments when we've finished, so you can contact her directly or through Facebook, Instagram. Keep going.
LinkedIn, YouTube, everywhere.
So that, there's quite a few different places to find her. I would really recommend contacting her, even if it's just for a chat, just to kind of see if she can help you, because she's amazing, she's wonderful, and I'm so glad that I met you, and that we've like got to know each other so much better.
Oh, thank
So
you.
thank you, Dani. Okay, so we've come to the end now, and I will see you for episode 4 next week. Let's talk about creativity. No, that is wrong. Let's talk about creative thinking with Nina Rainey. So thank you so much for listening, and I will see you all next week. Thank you so much, Dani.
Thank you.
I'll probably see you soon too. Bye. Gotta dance now.
Okay. Why not?
Why not?